Sometimes a conflict that feels a world away, well, it sends shockwaves that land right here at home. Today, we're going to break down how the escalating crisis with Iran is putting America on edge, from the front lines of diplomacy all the way to the front of the line at your local airport. Okay, let's just dive right into this. The tension between the United States and Iran, it's not just some headline anymore. It's turned into this kind of complex storm with consequences spinning out both abroad and right across the country. And it's creating a nation on high alert. So the real questions are, how did we get here and where's this all headed? And really, to get a sense of just how serious this is, you only have to listen to the language being used. Caroline Levitt, a spokesperson for the Trump campaign, laid out the hardline stance with this one quote: "I'm prepared to unleash hell." It's a pretty stark declaration that signals a really aggressive, no-compromise approach to this whole thing. So let's start with what's actually happening on the ground. This first part is all about the direct standoff, the military chess moves and the diplomatic breakdowns that are really pushing America and Iran right to the brink. Man, this thing is escalating at a really frightening pace. We're seeing a military buildup. More U.S. troops are reportedly on their way to the region. And at the same time, it seems like the diplomatic channels are just shutting down, with Iran rejecting the latest ceasefire terms. The White House is doubling down, promising to hit harder. And just to make things even crazier, there's this dangerous new variable in the mix. Ukraine's President Zelensky is now accusing Russia of actively feeding intelligence to Iran. This is a huge deal because it threatens to pull other major world powers into what was already a super volatile situation. So, with the drums of war beating louder and louder in Washington, it really brings up a huge question. Does the American public actually support this path of escalation? Let's take a look at the data. And wow, this polling data, it shows a pretty huge disconnect. A recent poll shows that a clear majority of Americans believe U.S. military action against Iran has already gone way too far. And that highlights a really deep divide between the administration's tough talk and how the rest of the country is feeling. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and see how this all connects. Because the fallout from this crisis, it isn't just happening thousands of miles away. It's casting this long, long shadow over Washington and, frankly, causing some serious chaos right here at home. And this kind of pressure, it starts showing up in some really unexpected but absolutely critical places. One of the first domestic agencies to really feel the strain is one that every single traveler depends on: the Transportation Security Administration, or the TSA. And this isn't just a feeling. We can actually put a number on it, and it's pretty alarming. Get this. More than 480 TSA officers have quit. Just quit recently. Now, this isn't just a small dip. This is a mass resignation wave happening right in the middle of a government shutdown crisis, a crisis that's only getting worse as political focus and resources are poured into the Iran situation. And the results? Our airport security is being left dangerously understaffed. I mean, even the head of the agency is sounding the alarm. The acting TSA chief came out and said that paying the very people who protect the public should never be a point of debate. A quote like that really underscores the frustration and the very real security concerns that are coming from the top. It's actually gotten so serious that the government is having to do some pretty unconventional stuff. To plug the gaps, they're now bringing in ICE officers, that's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to help with security at major hubs like Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. I mean, it's a Band-Aid solution, right? And it really just goes to show you how stretched thin our resources have become. So right in the middle of all this chaos, there's a huge change at the very top. The Department of Homeland Security, which is in charge of the TSA, has a new leader. Mark Mullen was just sworn in, and he's inheriting a department that's dealing with a shutdown and just cratering morale. So the billion-dollar question is, can new leadership actually turn this ship around? All right, so let's pull back from what's happening here at home for a second and look at the bigger picture. Because this conflict is sending a powerful economic shockwave across the entire world, and it's hitting markets and wallets everywhere. And that really forces us to ask a tough question. Beyond all the military and political costs, what is the true financial cost of this expanding conflict? And you've probably already felt the answer to that question every time you fill up your car. This chart shows a crazy spike in global fuel prices just this week, reaching highs we honestly haven't seen in years. This is the most immediate, tangible economic impact for millions and millions of people. So let me break down how this financial shockwave actually works. It's kind of like a ripple effect. It starts at the source. The conflict messes with the critical flow of oil and gas from the Middle East. That supply shock immediately makes fuel prices spike everywhere. And this isn't just an American problem. Countries from Chile to the Philippines are now staring down a potential energy crisis. And the final domino to fall, the stock market. Investors, seeing all this instability piling up, are just bracing for a major shock. And look, this isn't just me talking, this isn't speculation. The president of the Chicago Fed has issued a really blunt warning, saying the global economy is not prepared for the shock of a major energy disruption. When a top financial authority says something like that, well, you can bet people are going to sit up and listen. Okay, which brings us to the most important part of all this. We've talked about geopolitics, we've talked about chaos at home, and global economics. But now let's connect all these dots and really talk about what this means for you. So, how does all this big global stuff actually hit your day-to-day life? Well, it's pretty direct. First off, you're going to feel it at the gas pump with higher prices, no doubt about it. Next, if you're planning on traveling, get ready for longer security lines and probably some delays. Third, all this economic uncertainty, that means more volatility for your retirement savings and for the job market. And finally, the political instability right here at home just keeps getting deeper as that gap between official policy and public opinion gets wider. It's just a powerful reminder, isn't it? In our world today, no conflict is ever truly distant. The shockwaves that start in the Middle East, they don't just stay there. They travel all the way across oceans and continents until, yep, they land right on every American doorstep. And that leaves all of us with a pretty heavy, unsettling question. As we try to navigate this new era of global instability, where one crisis can just cascade into another, what comes next? You know, this whole situation is changing by the hour. So for clear, concise updates on this and other stories that matter, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for sticking with us.